Many people are afraid, they are shy about classical music. It's something not for me, it's for my parents, it's so bourgeois. There is so many cliches. Then that's a way, because you can watch on your phone, on your computer, on your TV, whatever, something at home, and then hopefully it will say, oh, that's really good music. I am Hervé Boissière, and this is Living the Creative Life.
Hervé, thank you so much for being here, for
Thank
joining
you.
me for this conversation about life and music, and thank you for hosting me here at Verbier.
Our pleasure.
So, the world of the performing artist is already full of challenges, pitfalls, and it's extremely public these days. But I think with you having created these famous Medici broadcasts, it has added an additional dimension to what the performers expect of the experience and then the audiences expect of the experience. What happens if one of the musicians says to you, okay, Hervé, I'm here for the first time, there's this live broadcast, I'm feeling stressed about this. What can you tell me that can help me process this mechanism, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we try to avoid that situation because we discuss much in advance with the artist if this idea of streaming, of broadcast, of recording is comfortable with. Mm-hmm. So that's our responsibility, to take all to have all the discussion before, and not put the artist in a difficult situation. So, and we always give the final cut to the artist, which means that, okay, live is live, but if he's not happy about the replay, then we are, of course, completely fine with not keeping the replay online or making some editing immediately after the performance to make sure that what stays online is really what he wants to see staying. When I was at Medici during almost 20 years, I mean, we had, I don't know how many thousands of live broadcasts we did at that time. I think over 4,000, I mean, I don't know, maybe 10 times we had a real issue to manage because something happened, etc. But that's really okay.
So do you think that this is the element which they're most nervous about? The fact that there's the replay, which is permanent, and that's representing their level, supposedly.
Yeah, exactly. We guarantee the integrity of the recording because we make sure that, I mean, the quality is there, the editorial around to introduce the piece, to present the program, to give the biography of the artist, whatever, it's available.
Do you feel like it's too much emphasis and too much pressure from an expectation of perfection with recordings?
The fact to look for perfection is there, and it's a pressure. And hopefully, I think there is life is long, so you can start your career with that in mind, because you have to reach that level of credibility in a way, because you deliver, you are safe, technically speaking, etc. But of course, the most interesting expectation is to have something personal. It has to think very, very original and sincerely original, not to be original for being original, but having something to say, to tell the story in your own way, in your inside way.
Did you ever witness that over the years, especially here at Verbier, if they're coming back and they're doing these broadcasts, do you witness them getting more and more comfortable with the process?
Absolutely. At the beginning, it's funny because there is, let's say, it's the first step. The first one was curiosity. And they were amazed by the reaction they received from their friends or colleagues or family from, they were performing in Switzerland in a small village in the mountains, and they got message or calls from Houston or Singapore. So they were amazed and they were curious. And so the first step was, it's really cool because, I can be seen and heard from everywhere. Then after they understood the pressure it was. So it was more, difficult to manage. And now, having said that we are good people and that was done in the proper way, it's really integrated. And they know, coming to Verbier, they know that they will be filmed, more or less, because not all the concerts are filmed. But it's important because, as you know, Verbier model is to have the same artist for several concerts.
Let's walk the audience through the procedure of doing one of these broadcasts, because I think most people don't know how complicated complicated it can get. So if I'm watching an orchestra, for example, and it's a Mahler symphony, what does that look like? How much time does that take to prepare?
Usually 4 or 5 days of preparation, mostly with the director and the musical advisor. So there is a musician involved, and it's really a duo between the director, who has the visual vision of the program, and the musical advisor with a script. Actually, is really with the score saying, okay, now bar 55, you have a oboe solo. Okay, so oboe, okay, there. So which camera I will use? Okay. Oh, no, that's too repetitive from the previous shots. So I shall find another camera. Okay, but that position, etc. So they really script everything in advance and write the scenario. It's like the screenplay of the capture, to make it diverse, interesting, musically relevant, of course, because the tempo of the shots has to be interesting, because not to go too fast or too slow, and balance between the different perspective. Of course, you have to show what the people never see from the hall, the conductor. So we have the very luxury position to show the face, the hands, the baton, and the connection between the conductor and his musicians. So that's something, of course, which has a central place for a concerto or a symphony. And then after, you have to isolate the main parts, solo, etc., from the different sections. Okay, so there is a lot of brass in this piece. Of course, we'll prioritize the brass views. We are not there just to reflect and broadcast. No, we have here to create an added value, to create something which is giving to the public behind the screen something which is exciting, which is interesting, and hopefully which will invite this person to go live to a performance, because of course nothing will replace the live emotion in the hall by definition. But how we can, just prepare, invite, convince, or just make it known, because many people are afraid, they are shy about classical music. It's something not for me, it's for my parents, it's so bourgeois. There is so many cliches. Then that's a way, because you can watch on your phone, on your computer, on your TV, whatever, something at home, and then hopefully it will say, oh, that's really good music.
Okay, so how do you make those decisions between making it exciting, as you say, and not making it distracting, for example, with really fancy shots, some tracking shots, some overhead crane shots? Yeah. Because the experience of an audience in the hall, unless you're walking somewhere, your angle is always the same. And so you're making decisions about the on-screen rhythm, how many times the frame is changing, what kinds of shots. That sounds like a bunch of discussion.
Our job is to make sure that people don't see us and we disappear. And it's even more magic. I said 2 reasons. One, to respect the audience who did that process. And second, it's good for us because I love to hear after the show people, backstage or from the public saying, oh, it was filmed. I didn't see the cameras. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, and it's a kind of magic because, of course, it was filmed and it was seen by 500,000 people already. What? But where were the cameras? I said, that's our touch, So I think it's even creating it's an invitation of the magic, which is behind. So I think it's extremely, not to be intrusive is very important. And even for the artists, we talked about that before. I mean, if they see the camera, it's different than if they don't see it. Of course, they know it's filmed, but there is a slight difference.
So who were the Medici family, and was this the immediate name you chose for the project?
I care about music is a key part of the life. Music is needed. Art is a guarantee of sanity, Louis Bourgeois said. So music makes life better. And in this crazy world, I am extremely happy and extremely, I feel extremely responsible, and it's a real challenge for all of us when you have the chance to be a little bit active on bringing art and music to the people. You have to do it as much as possible. So this idea of renaissance of the show must go on was very strong. And when you look at the Medici family, the Italians, I mean, what they did for the arts is absolutely amazing. They were the first or the biggest patrons. So this idea of new of innovation and this idea of helping the artists, supporting the artists. And Medici was nice, universal, and so it was. And I said, okay, so that works well. It's easy to remember. Medici.tv. Okay, easy, short. Let's do it.
So are these broadcasts already reaching their maximum audience, do you feel? Or are there other corners of audiences that you would still hope to reach?
If you and it's the fact for all big media talking about classical music, for the moment it's mostly North America and Europe. And when you see the potential in Asia, it's huge. But for instance, there is 3 main markets in Asia. I mean, China, Japan, South Korea, and each of them are very specific. To answer your question, I mean, the potential of the reach, the actual reach for today is just, I don't know, a very, very small result of what we can do in the future. And it's very exciting, obviously, and it's very positive because, and what is extremely interesting that for the first time we have, I believe, a generation without real classic references. We are in front of a quite new audience and virgin audience. So they won't say, oh, no, this Beethoven symphony, no, come on, Karajan was much better, or no, Bernstein was, and then you start and you open a debate of very, very specialist, which is not exactly what we need if we want to open the audience, And those people will say, oh, I just love this Beethoven 7. It's such great music, and that's it. And they don't care if it's a Baroque or period instrument with Harnoncourt, or a very classical with Carl Böhm, or a kind innovative with Theo Courancis, or whatever, etc. They just receive the power of the music, and they are just amazed by the beauty, and they are just touched.
And finally, Hervé, so you're back here at Verbier, and this is only my second time here at the festival, but I feel like I've experienced it many times because of the Medici broadcasts. So, having been involved with both, what's your hope now in being part of running the festival here? Do you have some ideas that you would like to see happen?
Verbier has been always extremely attractive and extremely special because, first of all, of the DNA of the festival, which is, of course, the combination with the great masters, the big names, and the young talents, and the youth orchestra, and the training program, the academy, etc. So, I mean, it's really fantastic to see so many connections and lifetime-changing experiences. What we want to achieve with Martin, clearly to make that event, which is really amazing, but which is very short, very, very 3 weeks, only in the summer, how we can see this event active, present, attractive during the year. So it's clearly the audiovisual. We want to put, of course, more effort in the audiovisual presence and resonance and proposal all along the year, because, of course, that's a perfect way to do it. So we just signed new partnerships. We have many, many projects in that field because we have all the archives, especially from the beginning of the festival, from the 90s. And this generation is not anymore there. And most of the musicians passed away. The Zonderling was coming, Sabalish was coming, Claude Mazur was coming, Isaac Stern was coming at the very beginning. So it's treasure from the past. And the generation which plays here started very young. So we had Cavacos or Kissin when they were babies, and they are still coming this summer. But those people, the generation before, is not there anymore, except that we have all this material recorded. So, of course, there is so many things to do. So audiovisual is clearly a priority. The other one is, I was talking about the chamber orchestra, which is our ambassador, and how we can have a real touring strategy with the orchestra, because honestly...
The touring.
Yeah. And so, of course, it's a lot of work. It requires a lot of money, of budget, blah, blah, blah. But that's clearly the goal, to have as the main event in the summer the Verbier Festival, which is unique experience. And then after, through audiovisual, through touring, through academy or winter, spring session, whatever. I don't know how and when, but that's clearly the direction, to have a global brand, Verbier Festival, and existing really 360 degrees, 365 days a year.
And I actually thought of one last thing I want to ask you about. Did it ever happen that one of the broadcasts was happening And despite all that concentration, you found yourself extremely moved.
You work so hard, you travel, you are jet lag, you have to deal with tons of elements, etc. And suddenly, because you always stay in the music, and then you having for one bar, something which bam, and then you start to cry in the control room, and you have to stay available for the rest. But that's why it's magic, and that's why at the end, I'm sure unconsciously, that's what we are looking for, to be moved and to be really fed by those guys who are just the best, So, of course, many times, many times. No. So at the day it becomes a routine. You have to change. You have to do something else. And every live, and we did altogether over 4,000, and I've been present. I don't know, big percentage of it, a real big one. But I mean, each time it's really special.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure, and thanks for bringing us music in so many different ways. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.